So we've arrived at the big moment in which we are going to separate the engine from the car. So what am I going to do? Instead of raising the engine out the top like you would normally do, I've decided to lower the entire subframe with the engine, drop it all out the bottom and then raise the body upwards to separate the two. So in order to do that, we need to remove the bolts that hold the subframe in place. We need to remove the bracket that holds the gearbox in place, and we need to remove the bracket that holds the shock absorbers in place. So we'll start with the latter, which is 3 screws at the top. So I'll show you that with the other camera. Once they're loose on the right hand side, we'll do the same on the left, and then we'll go underneath the car and I'll show you what we're going to do in order for it to drop out. So let's get to work. Okay then, so first off we're going to remove the bolts that hold, so the nuts that hold the shock absorber in place. So for that, 13mm, and there's 3 nuts we're undoing. Be aware that once you do the third one, it might drop down, so just make sure you don't have any feed or anything underneath that you might hurt yourself with. Also, probably useful to have one hand free that can catch it in case it starts moving. You can already see it lowering on the camera, so just in case, I'm going to hold my hand with it. And there you have it, exactly what I meant. So he's dropped out. He's now resting against the bodywork. What will happen most likely, so once we raise the bodywork, it will fall further, so just be careful with that. Might be an idea to put a strap between the two so they don't fall outwards. I'll have a look at that shortly. It's probably something considering for myself. Also, make sure you've undone all the brake lines. I've just noticed that my right hand side hasn't been done yet, so that needs to be done first before we can continue. So I'll get the tools for that and loosen those up. So, as I said, size 11 for the brake line, size 14 for the flexible hose. Make sure that there's nothing attached to the bodywork. We need to double check that the engine is completely separated from the chassis. So I'll go and do that now. I'll go make a look around, make sure there's no hoses connected to anything, make sure there's no pipe work, no steering assembly, nothing like that. Anything has to be loose in order for it to drop out, or we might get stuck somewhere and start breaking parts. So I'll repeat the same process on the left hand side. After that, I'm going to make a good look, make sure I've done a good look around. And once that's done, we'll get the card underneath it in position, and we'll get ready to drop it down. We can now start by getting the car ready to be separated from its engine, basically. So first off, I'm going to start by removing the bracket for the gearbox, because I won't have access to it once the car is so low down in order for it to fit on my cart. So what I've done is I've put a strap around the gearbox that is held up by a cross beam across the tunnel at the top. I'll show you shortly with a picture, and I'll go around it with the small camera. I'm then going to remove the 2 bolts that are underneath that the bracket is mounted to, that hold the gearbox in place. And once that's done, I'll then get the engine ready to be removed. First off though, let's get the gearbox ready. I don't know if you can see me underneath the car, but on the smaller camera you can see that this is the bracket that holds the gearbox up against the bodywork. So we will have to remove these 2 nuts, that one over here and the one at the far end. That needs to be removed as well. And then the bracket will come off and the gearbox hanging freely. So in order to stop it from dropping down, I have put a strap around the back end of it, which will then hopefully keep it in place in the time that it takes for me to remove the front subframe and raise the whole thing up. So that's the plan at least. So first off, we're going to remove these 2, and then hopefully it will stay secure. Just make sure that there's nothing underneath the car, like a little doggy that's trying to help Luna. Sweetie, you know, hello. I think you're blocking the view, Loops. Hey. Yeah. Sorry peeps, I've got to sort up my dog. 2 seconds. Oh. That's gone horribly wrong. There's some kind of fluid leaking out. I just need to clear it up before my dog starts having a go at it. So, update on what just happened. The gearbox bracket undone. She fell down a bit. The whole assembly tilted, and a little bit of coolant residue that was left in the engine is now pouring out. What looks like to be the pipe for the heater assembly, that's where it's all pouring out. So just let that leak. I'll absorb that in a minute. But at least the gearbox is now hanging off the strap that I put around it. Clearly I didn't do it tight enough, otherwise it wouldn't have dropped down that far. But yeah, it's secure at the moment, so the next step will be to make sure that we can get access to these these bolts when we drop it down, get the right size, and then we'll start undoing those, and then hopefully it'll rest on my little card here, and then we can lift the body upwards. We've now lowered the car. Let me just tilt the camera a little bit, and that would be of your benefit. So I've lowered the car onto the cart. It's all a little bit, I hope it works. If not, I think we've got a big problem to find out shortly. I need to find out which size is the correct size for those bolts. I'm going to start with a 19 and gamble my way from there. Oh, you're joking me. 19 is the right size. So there's one bolt here, there's another one up here, and let's see if we can undo them. Then we'll have to do the other side. So yeah, fingers crossed this is going to work. So these two are loose. I'm just going to pop across to the other side, make sure the other two are loose as well. Then hopefully we can gently start lowering them. The other two are removed. I've just got these two left to do. So yeah, we'll just very gently start undoing them. Okay, out of precaution, because I don't know if my engine block is positioned too far forward, I'm just going to put the jack underneath it. Okay, he's now properly supported. I think it's time we undo the last bolt now. In theory, it should now be loose, as in subframe is loose, shock absorbers are loose, and the engine is separated. I think very, very gently we could start trying to raise the car. I'm going to take out the spare tire that was in the boot just to balance it out, hopefully, even though it hasn't already tipped, which theoretically could have if the bolts are now loose. I'm just going to remove the tire. Let's go. It looks to be working. The engine block is staying behind. Oh. What did we forget? Freaking gearbox strap. Shite. Gotta say, guys, preparation is key, and so far, I'm making a right old hash of it. Alright then, attempt number 2. I think everything is loose. Let's gently try and raise her. And there you have it. That is the engine now separated from the car. Feels like I just facilitated divorce of some form, shape. Well, anyway, first time I've ever taken an engine out of a car, so it's quite a milestone in my engine career, in my car restoration career, I should say. So quite pleased by that, actually. Yeah, I was just yeah, I had my dad on the on FaceTime as we're doing this together, and it's quite a good moment, shall we say. Anyway, now that she's out, car's back up in the air. We've got some space to work with. Next step for me will be to remove the gearbox. Once the gearbox is off, I'm going to mount a crane to the block itself. I'll then remove the engine block from the support strut that's mounted to the subframe. Then the engine will be taken off. Will go on its on the engine stand, so I can work on that. Get out of the way. We're going to take the shock absorbers off and put them to the side. And then we'll do the trick all over again at the back end, because the rear subframe has to come out as well. So yeah, I think now it's time for some lunch. See you guys next time. Thank you very much for joining me and following me on how to remove an engine, basically. As always, subscribe to the channel, like, share, whichever of anyone you can think of, please. And I look forward to seeing you at the next one. See you then. Bye bye.